2015 and newer Subaru WRX oil catch can installation. I'm Brian Esser from How to Automotive. I'm going to walk you step by step through the process of installing the Boomba Racing's oil catch can system. This catch can kit by Boomba Racing is complete with everything you need to install it, including brackets and hardware. There will be links in the description for the kit and also for the tools that I'm using. The first thing we need to do is get the top engine cover off. So in the front, you're just going to pull upwards, and in the back, there's going to be a couple clips you need to remove. So you're going to pop out the center portion of the clip first, and then the whole clip will come out. To do that, I just used a flat blade screwdriver, stuck it in like this, pop the center up, then you can pull the clip out. Once you got the two clips in the back removed, you can just lift upwards and then pull the cover off like this and set aside. So this is a two-stage kit. So we're going to install stage 2 first. First thing we need to do is remove the intercooler. We're going to loosen up both clamps on the left and the right side. Once you get the clamps removed, then you can remove the 2 bolts here and then the 1 bolt here. So I've already loosened up the hose clamps on the intercooler. Now I'm removing the 2 bolts on the driver's side. Then I'll go around to the passenger side and remove the bolt here. The bolts are 12 millimeters, and I'm using a Milwaukee M12 1/4-inch drive hex head impact driver here to remove the bolts. So once the bolts are removed and clamps are removed, you're just going to wiggle the intercooler and kind of lift upwards and push it towards the firewall. And then what you do is you angle it out. There's the bracket on the right side. You're going to angle it out just like that. There's also going to be 1 hose that's clipped onto the intercooler. Pop that off too. Now with the intercooler off, we need to get to the first positive crankcase valve here, or the hose. It's right below the EGR tube here. So if you look right here, there's this brown plug. If you look just behind it, there's a elbow hose that's going from the intake going down to the block. We need to remove that hose. To do that, I'm going to use a pair of needle nose pliers to get to these hoses and squeeze the clamps to get the hoses off. The hose on the block is the easiest one to get to. That was the I just used the needle nose pliers like this, grab the hose clamp and pull the clamp up. And now, so I walked around to the passenger side of the vehicle, and as you can see a little better down here. You can see the hose I popped off right here. So now if you look right here, just below right here is the second half, or the elbow portion of going onto the intake. It's right there. You're going to squeeze the clamp and pull that off. You're going to get this elbow hose off. We're going to modify this elbow hose. We need to cut it. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut about 1 inch off of it, or about 1.5 inches. You want to cut it where the fat part, you want to cut it right where the fat part is, right there. Basically, this is going to be used as an adapter to adapt our hose that comes with the kit back onto the manifold. So we cut it off about 1.5 inches right here like this. And then we're going to take this and put it onto the supplied hoses and nipples that come in. So you're going to put the hoses and nipples together. And then you're going to slide the part that we cut off onto the adapter here. The kit comes with all the brackets and hose clamps and everything you need. So you're going to put this hose together like this. And what this hose is a 3/8 in diameter silicone hose that we're going to install. We're going to install this portion back onto the intake port. And then the second hose here, there's no adapters needed. It's just a 3/8 hose. So you're going to take the 3/8 hose, and you're going to grab a few of the hose clamps that come with the kit. And you're going to take the 2 hoses, and we're going to install these back onto the car. So I'm going to install the one with the little adapter here first. We're going to install that onto the intake manifold here. And as I was putting it on, I realized that I didn't trim the hose back far enough. It was still too skinny, because it goes from skinny to fat. So we need to trim it off to where it's just the thicker portion of it. It's slightly bigger than the 3/8. And I also put the original hose clamp back on it. Now I slid it back under the intake and onto the port on the intake, and use the needle nose pliers to flare the clamp open and put it on. Now we're just going to tuck that over here towards the fender. Now we're going to take the second piece here. And I used the original hose clamp on this one also. So I slid it down onto the port that goes onto the block here, and then put the clamp back on. Now we're going to just feed these 2 hoses off to the side right here. So we're going to install the intercooler back onto the vehicle now. We got those 2 hoses pushed off to the side. So I'm going to take the intercooler and feed the side with the bracket in first, kind of put it in at an angle like this, and then rotate it kind of around the corner until it lines up with the where it mounted onto. The bracket also went under a couple of hoses, so you're going to make sure it routes underneath them. And then you can line up the intercooler with the inlet ports. Once you got the intercooler pushed on, you can go ahead and tighten up the 2 hose clamps, one on the left and one on the right side of the vehicle. So you just want to take your time when you work with this and just kind of wiggle it and get it to mount. So like I said, once you get it mounted, you can go ahead and tighten up the 2 hose clamps. You don't want to put the bolts in just yet. We're going to put some brackets back on with the new kit. Now we're going to install the supplied mounting bracket that goes right here on the passenger side of the intercooler mount right here. So it's going to mount through here with a supplied 6mm Allen bolt. So you'll line up the bracket like this and tighten it up. Now we're going to install the stage 2 catch can. It should be labeled on the kit. This little mounting bracket here it has some Allen bolts here on here. You can loosen these up and adjust the mounting bracket left or right and up and down. So you're going to put it where the hoses are like this. So you want the mounting bracket to face forward like this and the hoses facing towards the front of the vehicle like this. So then you're going to install the 2 4mm Allen bolts that came with the kit. So you'll go ahead and screw those down and tighten them up. And if you need to, the 2 Allens on the left and the right side of the catch can, you can tighten those up or loosen those up to adjust left or right if you need to. If you look at the catch can here, there's a port at the bottom where that allows you to drain it. And it also has a little window right here on the front so you can look and see if the oil is full on it. Now we're going to find the hose that went on the engine block, and we're going to mount that onto the inlet side of the catch can. So I just wiggled it to kind of verify which one was which. And then we install that onto the intake side. And the other hose, the one on the intake manifold, goes on the outlet side right here. So you can put those on and you can go ahead and put the clamps on. Or you can leave the clamps off. There's no pressure in these. It just depends on if you like the clean installation or not. So that's the stage 2 catch can. Now we're going to install the stage 1 catch can. You're going to take the supply bracket and the mounting bolts that come with the kit. So the catch can bracket is going to lay on top of the bracket for the intercooler, just like this, and you want to face it in this direction like this. So we're going to take that, lay it on top, and then put the 2 bolts through the intercooler bracket and the catch can bracket like this and tighten those down. So the stage 1 mounting bracket is mounted at a 90 degrees sideways like this. So you're going to mount it in just in front of the master cylinder just like this, with the hoses pointing towards the front of the vehicle and the clamp on the side like this. And you're going to put the 2 4mm Allen bolts through and tighten those up. We need to prep the vapor lines that go onto the catch can. The first thing we need to do is cut this hose right here. So we're going to cut a portion of this hose out to install the vent lines. We're going to need a hose cutter like this, or a sharp knife or razor blade, and we're going to cut right here where the S on Subaru is, and we're going to make an incision right here and cut this hose in half. So to the right of the incision we made, there's a clip holding the hose onto the intake. We need to pop this clip out. And then we're going to follow this hose down, and right here where the elbow is, we're going to cut it right here and cut that portion of the hose out. So we're cutting about 3 or 4 inches of the hose out right here. Now we need to prep the supplied hoses here. So the hoses come with these adapters that adapt the 3/8 to the larger, I believe it's like a 1/2 inch hose here. So we're going to put the adapters on and the 1/2 inch hoses on. So we'll mount the new hoses onto the 2 hoses that we cut, so 1 on each side with the hose clamps, and tighten those up so they don't come back off. Then we're going to route the tubes around and attach them to the catch can. So the upper hose here attaches to the outlet on the catch can, is marked outlet and inlet here. So the higher mounting hose is the outlet, and the lower one went below down onto the block, that mounts on the intake side. Once you got those hoses mounted onto the catch can, then you can take the supplied zip ties and secure all the lines so they don't rub onto anything. After that, we can install the top engine cover. So you're just going to slide it onto place, push it downwards until it locks into place, and put the 2 tabs in the very back on. So I will link up this kit in the description of the video along with all the tools I use to install it. If you guys have any questions on catch cans, on how they work, or any questions on the installation, leave a comment in the description below. I'm Brian Esser from How To Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos, encourage you to subscribe, invite you to head over to the howtoautomotive.com website for more valuable videos like this. Thank you again for watching.